My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the financial controller for High-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at High-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. High-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head over to the UK and to the Knockhill circuit in Scotland for round 3 of the British Sidecar Championship. Then we wind the clock back to 2013 and to round 2 of the High-Tech Oils V8 Superboat Series from Temora in New South Wales. This is Speedweek.
Round 3 of the Hyundai Heavy Industries British Sidecar Championship comes here to Knockhill. Behind me is the hill, and here's the hairpin. It's going to be fun when 30 sidecars go around that hairpin. We've had 3 races so far. Tim and Tristan Reeves sit on top of the pile, maximum points. Let's have a look at the table. Well, there it is, 75 right on top. Defending champion Stevens Charwood, 15 adrift. Kershaw and Clark, what a season they're having, and they're on home ground here at Knockhill. Gary Bryan, Ben McBride head. Chris Walker and Ashley Hall's their teammates. Holland, and look at Bell. Bell's going to be there as well. 600 Cup, Alan Founts, Tom Peters. They are 8 points clear of the Christie brothers. Glorious weather here, and remarkable really for Knockhill. 3 15-lap races on the calendar, and the first one, with Tim Reeves on pole position, got his head down, almost made a jump start, but just about contained it as the lights went. It was Reeves who got the drop on the first of the 15 laps. Charging down through the field, there was a massive spin by Alan Founts, the number 8 Brian Gray Power Biking Yamaha. They rolled it, so they're out of the running. So drama from the word go there was here. Fighting through though, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood had a terrific battle with Chris Walker, Ashley Hawes, only to spin out at Duffer Stip, and that was to be the scene of a lot of incident in this race. Rupert Archer coming through as Gary Horsepole, also in trouble with Jimmy Connell, another local Scot. Meanwhile, Phil Bell and Tony Belsey chasing really hard as up went the hand of Tristan Reeves. The Reeves brothers were in trouble. Was this going to be the opportunity for Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood to claw back some points? They were retiring at the end of lap 3 as Chris Walker hunted down the Kershaw boys and made the pass stick at the inside of the hairpin. But the cement dust there was the result of earlier contamination, which actually brought out the red flag. How lucky were Tim and Tristan Reeves? They were able to restart further down the order, right at the back of the grid. So they were going to have to work for it, but at least they were in the race. Not so lucky Alan Founts. The man who rolled was unable to take any further part in race 1. Bunched up on the inside though at Duffer Stip, there was a coming together between Rob Biggs and Ricky Stevens. It ended up with 3 outfits careering wide at Duffer Stip, but they were all able to rejoin. Among them, newcomer Todd Ellis with experienced passenger Charlie Richardson. They were absolutely flying, and then out came a black flag for Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood with a damaged wheel arch. That wheel arch flapping in the breeze. It was actually a black and orange flag, which for the time being they appeared to be ignoring. Meanwhile at the front, Chris Walker going up the inside with a very determined move on Phil Bell and Tony Belsey to take the lead. It was then Kershaw's turn to have a go at the Bell-Belsey pair. They moved into second place, knowing full well that charging through were the Reeves boys. No sooner than Phil Bell thought about it than the Reeves boys were through. They were then at that stage up to third, really charging, knowing that the two guys ahead of them were very quick indeed. This is the scene of Steve Kershaw's massive crash at the end of 2015. He was unfazed, as indeed were Tim and Tristan Reeves, slotting through into second place at Duffer's Dip with only the Stalker Walker and Ashley Hawes ahead of them, and they very quickly dispatched them back into second. So the Carl Cox Kawasaki of Tim and Tristan Reeves were by now in the lead. Going through on the inside of Chris Walker, Steve Kershaw made a very strong move, and this was to be the first of his runner-up spots in the day. Kershaw, very much a man in form, Phil Bell riding strongly, and the rest of the field followed through in this dramatic race. But race one victory went to Tim and Tristan Reeves, and there it was confirmed. You could see how close it was after the restart, and Andy Peach on a sluggish Suzuki bringing it home fifth with Ken Edwards. A remarkable result for him. Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey 15 seconds clear of Gary Bryan. Further down the order, the top 600, Gordon Shannon, Phil Hyde from the Christie boys, and Todd Ellis, Chaz Richardson there in 14th in their first ever British Championship race here. Well, there it is. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood didn't finish. That's really knocked them for 6 in the championship chase so far. It all seems to be turning to dust for them, but Reeves top step. The second race here at Knockhill was no less dramatic, and lining up on the front row, Peter O'Neill, Jack Galligan, number 55, alongside Gary Horsepole, newcomers to the series, the guys from Belfast. Chris Walker got a cracking start, as did Kershaw, fighting through. It was a reverse grid. That's the rule for 2017, so they finish in reverse order from the way they started. From the outset, though, Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey had an absolute flying start, and they were already some 50 metres ahead as Walker was fighting his way through. He very quickly got the better of Gary Horsepole and Jimmy Connell, and then set out after Andy Peach and Ken Edwards. Up went their hands, so they were retiring. Phil Bell and Tony Belsey, number 18 on the Executive Suzuki, were in it, and again they had to keep Tim and Tristan Reeves at bay as Andy Peach and Ken Edwards retired. Very quickly, though, through went the Reeves brothers in pursuit of Chris Walker. But Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey were nowhere to be seen. They were way down the road, just vanishing over the rise into Duffer's Dip, as Tim Reeves made the move on Walker to slot into second place. Chris Walker then at this point was in third, ahead of Phil Bell, fighting through the number 29 Express Tyres Kawasaki of Steve Kershaw. Walker made a mistake. It all goes light at Duffer's Dip. You lose the back end and you end up going grass tracking. That's exactly what happened with Chris Walker. He had it all to do as Kershaw went through on Phil Bell. Kershaw and Clark were then up to third, but chasing them down, desperate to claw back big points. The championship defenders, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, were quickly past Bell in pursuit of Kershaw, but by now Reeves boys were on Ben Holland and made it look so simple at the hairpin. Super smooth through there, Tim and Tristan Reeves on the Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki, and the Hannifin Kawasaki of Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey were chasing, but a return move resulted in a rumble over the curb. It upset the balance, and they too were on the grass on the inside of Duffer's Dip, not easily able to rejoin. Chris Walker, meanwhile, fighting through the field, quickly got past Gary Horsepole and Jimmy Connell, but it was all to no avail. There was no way he was going to chase down the top three at this point. It was damage limitation. Chris and Ashley Hawes had to get valuable points. The checkered flag went out as Tim and Tristan Reeves took victory again here from the Kershaws, with a third place and a valuable 16 points for Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood to add to their score. But their defence of their title is proving to be more difficult than they thought. They've been overtaken by Kershaw and Clark, now up to second place in the standings, but second in the race as well. Phil Bell and Tony Belsey, Holland and Ramsey. And look at that, 10th place for new kid on the block, Todd Ellis with Chaz Richardson. First cup home, followed by Founds and Gordon Shand and Phil Hyde. The Christie boys, 4th 600. They got the final point overall, if you like, but they got cup points. That's what counts. They're the retirements. Biggs, Peach and Neville Jones, and who better to present the trophies than former world champion Darren Dixon. The third and final race here at Knockhill, about to form up. This is a really impressive sight. There are about 26 outfits on this grid at Knockhill on the 1.2 mile circuit. They're really tight. If you've been watching any of the earlier races, you'll understand what I mean. We're waiting for the people to take their position on the front of the grid, and it's all mixed up because it's a reverse grid situation. Look for Steve Kershaw coming through. Bit of a local hero, you know. There he is, number 29. He's already had 2 runner-up spots so far this weekend. The pole position man is Rupert Archer, number 70 on the Hannafin Kawasaki. They're taking up their place. Gary Horspool taking his place. He and Jimmy Connell, local Scotsman. So you see, this mixed-up grid makes it really, really interesting. It's a 15-lap race. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm looking down the grid. It's brilliant. Wonderful weather here as well as Ben Holland. Oh, there you look at that. Todd Ellis, Chaz Richardson on the 600, CBR 600 Honda. This guy's first ever British Championship weekend, and he's already taken a victory. He is a name for the future, and he's also Gary Bryan's stepson, so keep it in the family or what. So let's see what these 600s can do. Phil Bell is so good round here, the number 18, teamed up with Phil Hyde. Rupert Archer and Steve Thomas, number 70, in pole position. There is Gary Bryan and Ben McBride. Right in the middle, Gary Horspool easing away. So off they go, but through immediately from the back of the grid come Tim and Tristan Reeves, already up to 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th place, it looks to me like. On the inside of Ben Holland goes Phil Bell. Reeves is already through. Chris Walker slotting into 3rd, with everybody bunching up. So the race leader at the moment, Gary Horspool, number 32, former F2 600cc British champion with Steve Thomas, a really accomplished and experienced sidecar driver, but Chris Walker not paying any respect at all. Through he goes, Walker into the lead, and Chris Walker will know with Ashley Hawes he's got to get his head down now, because in 4th place, in 3rd place, I correct you, it's the Carl Cox Motorsport, Tim Reeves and Tristan Reeves with their Kawasaki. 2nd place, would you believe it? There, and a big shunt by Gary Bryan. Tim Reeves had to look over the shoulder to see if everybody got round there safely. But Walker leads. Reeves 77 then, who set a new lap record of 51.455 in the 2nd race, as Phil Bell and Tony Belsey still very much in the hunt on the back of Gary Bryan and Ben McBride, the number 44 Santander Salt Kawasaki. Through they go. Bit of a Knockhill specialist. Phil Bell, number 18 on the ex-Sean Hegarty Marin Motorsports Suzuki. Been the quickest Suzuki all weekend, Phil Bell. Reeves goes through on Chris Walker then. So Chris Walker's about to get a lesson now in sidecar racing from the 5-times world champion Tim Reeves, who's teamed up with brother Tristan this season because Tristan loves doing the British Championship. They're not doing World Championship. These boys, though, on the JG Speedfit Cool Kawasaki, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood sitting in 5th place as we look down the grid. They've got past Gary Bryan. Look at the guy behind, number 29, on board with Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark on the Express Tyres Blink Bonnie Kawasaki. 2 runner-up spots already. I've hardly time to draw breath here. We're on lap 3 of 15. What can Kershaw do, because he's got the reigning champions ahead of him? Through goes Walker, through goes Bell. Ben Holland ahead of Bell. Through goes Ricky Stevens. There, the number 60 Hannafin Kawasaki of Ben Holland. Gary Bryan and Ben McBride slipping back. Pole position man Rupert Archer and Steve Thomas, number 70. Horspool, there's Andy Beach, retirement in race 2. And the leading 600 at the moment, number 8, Alan Founds and Tom Peters, with Todd Ellis and Charlie Richardson. They're big rivals in this class right behind them. The number 6, Blue, that's Santander Salt as well, assisted. The battle of the 600s is proving to be absolutely electric this year. But look at Kershaw. Kershaw then hunting down. Phil Bell is holding up somewhat, if I can put that in the nicest way. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, they want to get past him because they know Kershaw is coming. We're on board with Kershaw now, who had this massive crash here. I know I keep talking about it, but can you imagine coming back to the circuit that almost inflicted a career-ending injury on you? He's back here riding with a new level of confidence. I've never seen Steve Kershaw more fired up than number 29 than he is now. He's on the back of Ricky and Ryan then. Phil Bell, and I apologise to Phil Bell, he wasn't holding anybody up, he's getting away. Phil Bell is getting away as through goes Kershaw on Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood. So the Express Tyres Kawasaki has gone past the JG Speedfit Cool Kawasaki, and now they're hunting down the Marion Motorsport Suzuki of the number 18, the Northumbrian Phil Bell, with Tony Belsey. And I have to say, in Tony Belsey's defence, he is nursing a very arthritic hand, his knuckles very red and very swollen. You need to be able to hang on in this game, as you can imagine, and he's being severely handicapped with an arthritic problem. Get some tablets down here, Tony. You don't need that when you're passengering Phil Bell. Through goes Kershaw. Kershaw number 29 then. Now, what can Kershaw do about the flyers ahead of him? Don't forget Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey absolutely flying ahead of this battle, but it's Kershaw then leading the chasing bunch. There is Ben Holland with the yellow helmets. Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey in the middle, number 60. Kershaw right with them, alongside Phil Bell, and over the top of the hill, taking the place. Is it going to be Ricky Stevens? God, that Suzuki is quick. That Suzuki is unbelievably quick. It nearly held off the Cool Kawasaki. They had to grit their teeth and wring its neck. Bell fighting back, though. Bell fighting back on the inside, but no. Stevens has now got the place. Knockhill, not a happy place for Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood. 2016, Charwood was thrown out, injuring his shoulder, so that weekend was damage limitation for Stevens. He rode with Chaz Richardson and gained some valuable points on his way to lifting the title. But this year, he's got Tim and Tristan Reeves at every single race. And that is where the danger lies for Stevens and Charwood. Walker then right behind them, race leaders out in front. Walker in, that's Maria Costello, being lapped by Chris Walker, the former TT lady competitor, with Kirsty Hawkswell holding down the third wheel. So an all-lady crew has passed Holland. Goes Kershaw, throwing the back end in, skirting around there. So that's another place gone. Kershaw then now in pursuit of Chris Walker. If he can get past Walker, then he's got a clear run at Tim and Tristan Reeves. Reeves not getting away. We're on lap 8 of 15. They are not disappearing up the road as they might expect they would. And speaking to Tim Reeves earlier, he actually said to me, these guys are all getting quicker. It's not as easy as it was, he said. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. Kershaw through on Chris Walker. There is Tim Reeves and Tristan Reeves behind Kevin Cable and Guy Borsley. And the rest of these guys are very much in touch. You can see the leader just going off over the crest into Duffus Dip as Kershaw throws it down there. Talk about a new level of confidence. He's as high as a kite and really, really going so well here. Kevin Cable ahead of him then, being lapped. Is he going to go right? Is he going to go left? Kevin Cable and Guy Pawsey. Oh, Kershaw's gone wide. Went the long way round, and that was the wrong way round. That allowed Chris Walker to go through and regain the place. Back up to second place then, Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes. So Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark have it all to do again on lap 9 of 15. And that, if I may say so, might just have destroyed Steve Kershaw's chance of having a proper go at Tim and Tristan Reeves, because now he's involved in this scrap for second place with Chris Walker. Neck and neck they go over the top. Kawasaki plays Kawasaki. Who gets the verdict? Kershaw's on the inside line. That's the one he wants, and that's the one he takes. Through goes Kershaw again. So the status quo is all restored, back up to second, but by now Tim Reeves is way down the road. The gap is significantly bigger than it was before Kershaw's incident. Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey are hanging in there on the back, and here come Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood in 5th place. 5th place they are on lap 2/3 race distance, on lap 10 of 15. Oh, that's Rob Biggs and Ben Ransley out of the running. Shame for them. Their comeback ride after illness for Rob Biggs. He's been a bit poorly, but he's getting himself sorted. So good to see him back here at Knockhill. Chris Walker, Ashley Hawes, number 9, going past Barry Smith and lady passenger Tracy Bryan, all the way from New Zealand, those guys. So a round of applause for them coming over here from down under. They're absolutely loving it. And Kershaw now then, 1 second a lap faster than the race leaders, would you believe? So is there enough time left? I don't know. Lap 13 of 15, Matt McLaurin, 80 Hope, number 25 on the Blue Machinery Yamaha, and here comes Todd Ellis and Charlie Richardson leading the 600 charge. Very much in the hunt, these boys. They're well turned out. What a debut weekend Todd Ellis has had. There's a name for the future. This will do their 600cc Cup Championship standings the world of good in their first ever meeting. Gary Horsepole and Jimmy Connell still fighting tooth and nail with McLaurin and Hope on the Blue Machinery. Leaders on their final lap as these boys duel it out round the back of the circuit. Tim Reeves then has already gone over the start-finish line to do his final lap of Knockhill. And who's going to get the verdict here? Round they go. Up towards Hislops, round Hislops, and then of course the tight right-hander of the hairpin ahead of them. Horsepole is good round here, but charging up the inside, Matt McLaurin, is he going to make it stick? No. Horsepole keeps it tight, and now the sprint over the start-finish, and they will then take the last lap flag as Tim Reeves already on his final lap with brother Tristan, 4 and a bit seconds ahead of the chasing Kershaw. It might have been a different story had Kershaw not had that problem with Kevin Cable and Chris Walker taking it through. But the checkered flag then goes out. A hat-trick of wins here for the Reeves brothers. The Christie boys, Sam and Adam, go over the line. Chris Walker ahead of Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charlwood. But there it is. 3 wins in a row for Tim and Tristan Reeves, and they march on after just over 13 minutes of racing. Incredible stuff here at Knockhill. The sidecars have delighted what must be a capacity crowd. The weather's been good, everything has been fantastic. But let me just reflect on the first race. How lucky was Tim Reeves that he was able to rejoin? It made all the difference. Confirmation, Reeves, Kershaw, Walker, that's the podium. Holland, Stevens and Bell chased them down all the way ahead of Andy Peach and Ken Edwards. Another creditable finish for the old Suzuki of Peach. McLaurin and Hope, Todd Ellis again with Charlie Richardson lifting 600 glory ahead of the Christie brothers, who now, by my reckoning, will lead the Cup points. Gordon Shand, Phil Hyde in 15th. Brilliant stuff. What a day. Chris and Ashley, another brilliant mega race. I mean, you really had to go, led briefly, but it was tough, wasn't it?
It is tough. I mean, the depth of field this year is way more than last year, which is great for us, because well, especially for me, because it means I've got to push on even harder. And I'm going faster every track, but the results aren't any better than last year. But I feel like I'm in the race now, and I'm a part of the leading group, which is great. Finally, to get on the podium this weekend was awesome. We still haven't beat Kershaw over the line, nearly twice this weekend, but we're getting closer.
Well, I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I've got to say huge congratulations. Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we've just worked hard and it's paid off. Just a fantastic race. I really enjoyed it. I felt like we had the pace to just pass and pull away from the guys in front, and that's just such a confidence booster for us that we can do that and start chasing Tim. It's fantastic.
Tim and Tris, Tim, I've just said to Chris Walker, what's it going to take to stop Tim Reeves? He said retirement.
Oh, bless him. No, I don't know. I'm really enjoying it, mate. The package we got's really good. The bike is working well. Tris is doing a good job, and I'm enjoying riding. And I think, when you're enjoying riding, you go fast. But to be fair to Chris, he looked, he got off in front and he looked really tidy. I thought he was going to be a menace, but I think once he knew I was there behind him, he sort of went to bits a bit. I think if he could smooth up, he would be more of a pain in the arse.
A nice technical term from Tim Reeves, but he leads on 150 points. 6 victories, unbelievable. But Kershaw's in there, he's in the hunt, ahead of defending champions Stevens and Charlwood. Chris Walker in 4th. He can't get that 4th monkey off his back, can he? 600s, the Christie boys lead by 3 points, but look at Todd Ellis up to 3rd. Well, it's been an absolutely fantastic weekend here in Scotland. We've had perfect weather, we've had a packed grid, we've had 3 cracking races. The next round is at Snetterton in Norfolk, a long way south of here, about 250 miles in fact. We're looking forward to that, so join us in Snetterton for the next round in this fantastic Sidecar Championship. Thanks for watching. Till then, goodbye.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break we wind the clock back to 2013 and to round 2 of the Hi-Tech Oils V8 Superboats from Temora in New South Wales.